The 60 Minutes interview was a great chance to hear Harry and Meghan's story in case you missed their 2-hour sit-down with Oprah or their 6-part Netflix documentary.
Place in microwave. What is microwave? I don't think we have any of that. Harry, do we have any microwave?
It's a microwave, silly.
Don't talk to me like that, you bitch! I'm a fucking duchess! Ugh! Ugh! Shake that off!
Oh!
Harry, get your limey ginger ass down here and clear this up!
Prince Harry, whose memoir just broke the Guinness record for fastest selling nonfiction book of all time. They're now releasing a version for kids. I don't know if you know about this. It's a twist on The Princess and the Pea. It's called The Prince and the Penis, and it's,
Jimmy Kimmel just did something on live TV that Hollywood usually avoids, and he did it with a grin that said he knew exactly what he was stirring up. Instead of praising Harry and Meghan for breaking a Guinness record with that memoir, he flipped the whole moment into pure comedy and took aim at them without blinking. He didn't clap for the achievement, he roasted it.
and by the way, they should hope that the kid looks more like Meghan than Harry. No offense, but Harry kind of looks like the guy who played Screech, may he rest in peace.
Kimmel pulled out a wild children's book-style parody called The Prince and the Penis, turning their serious moment into a joke for millions to watch, and the crowd was losing it. Then he went even harder, clowning Harry's whole look, comparing him to Screech, that awkward character nobody ever wanted to be compared to, making the audience explode in laughter. But the real shocker came next.
Harry said racism was a big part of their decision to leave, which you know things are bad at Buckingham Palace if they came to America to get away from racism.
Kimmel stepped straight into the part of their storyline that always gets people arguing, calling out how strange their whole "we had to run for safety" narrative sounded when they ended up moving to America, a place known for plenty of heated social issues of its own. He said it in a way that made the room freeze for a second before everyone burst out laughing again. Kimmel didn't whisper, didn't tiptoe, didn't blink. He basically said the contradictions were too big to ignore, and he delivered it with that sharp, late-night punch he's famous for.
What is the #1 question that mystifies scientists?
Is there life on another planet?
Oh no, why does Meghan Markle make her own pretzel bags? They don't know why.
That's interesting. She takes it from one bag and puts it in another bag.
It's another bag.
And that confuses people.
This, we're just gonna put into a different bag.
Harry and Meghan wanted out, and instead of leaving quietly, they tossed heavy shade at his own family to make their exit look justified, flipping the whole royal story on its head. The second they did that, everything in the Hollywood scene shifted in real time. Jimmy Kimmel cracked the first punchline, and suddenly the entire entertainment world felt bold enough to jump in. But here's where it gets wild. The comedy show Spitting Image, the one that had been clowning Harry and Meghan for years, ended up getting hit with a lawsuit. Yes, a real one. They were making internet jokes, posting puppet parodies, and then boom, the whole channel got wiped clean like someone pressed a big red delete button. And the crazy part? People online swear they already know who pushed that lawsuit forward, and the theories get louder every day.
Take the snack out of one bag and then move them into another bag and then label this new bag, even though this bag already has a label on.
We'll reach that part soon, but you need to see how late-night TV turned their backs on this couple before that moment even happened. Jimmy Fallon jumped right in, roasting Meghan like he'd been waiting his turn. He dragged her viral pretzel shuffle, where she takes snacks from one bag and dumps them into another bag like she invented a whole new lifestyle trick. It looked like peak luxury bubble behavior, the kind of thing regular people would never think twice about, and Fallon treated it like comedy gold.
How I prepare water for my guests. Some water that I got from the spring in my backyard. Whatever you do, don't use tap water. I'm just gonna sneak a taste. You flower petal. H is always calling water water.
And the internet didn't sleep on it. Influencers saw the perfect opening and began dropping parody videos that spread everywhere. They recreated Meghan's Netflix-style content, acting out her slow-motion snack sorting like it was some huge achievement, making it even funnier with every upload. Then they tore into her over-the-top water ritual, the one with the petals floating inside the glass like she was prepping a spa treatment instead of just grabbing a drink. Regular water apparently wasn't giving her the vibe she wanted, so she went full luxury mode, and the internet couldn't stop laughing at how dramatic it looked.
Any type of flower arranging is just telling a story. What story do you want to tell? Maybe leave the country. Maybe disown your dad. Be creative with it.
And of course, she started talking about arranging flowers like she was crafting some deep emotional story, even though most people watching were wondering who she thought was actually listening. Every clip felt like a performance, and the audience picked up on it fast. These weren't random accounts dropping jokes for fun.
I said Meghan Markle is, of course, a lifelong feminist, which she's demonstrated by marrying a prince and giving up her job.
These were creators with millions of followers, turning Meghan into a running meme without breaking a sweat. The pretzel bag moment became legendary for all the wrong reasons, and that was just the warm-up round because the British comedians were gearing up like they had something to prove. Jimmy Carr stepped in with a question nobody else dared to touch, asking how someone who branded herself as a lifelong feminist ended up quitting her career to step straight into royal life.
The royal family, right, if you can imagine, they're like our Kardashian. Prince Harry is very much our Kanye. He occasionally dresses as a Nazi, and he...
The crowd went wild because he said it with that sharp edge only Carr can get away with. Then he hit Harry with the one thing everyone knows he can't stand being reminded of. The old party moment where he showed up wearing that infamous costume that still follows him around today. Carr kept it in the comedy lane, but the punchline landed hard and the audience felt it instantly. But Simon Brogan didn't even try to soften the blow. He sat down and watched their entire Netflix documentary from start to finish, hoping to finally understand what they were trying to say, acting like a patient viewer giving them one last chance. Big mistake.
I watched the Harry and Meghan Netflix documentary. And I'll be honest with you, before I watched it, I was not a fan of theirs. But now I've actually heard their side of the story, I f***ing hate them.
He came out more frustrated than informed, and he didn't hide a single bit of it. That's the effect they have on people, and it's honestly wild. You sit down thinking, all right, let's give them a fair shot. Let's hear their side. And somehow you walk away even more annoyed than when you started. It's a talent at this point, just not the kind they want. They actually had real topics they could have handled with depth, serious issues that deserve respect and clarity.
They started off and they're making interesting points about racism and misogyny. Then they start calling each other H&M, and I just thought, oh, do f*** off.
But instead, they wrapped everything inside cute couple nicknames and personal drama that made the whole thing feel staged instead of sincere. It left viewers confused, irritated, and wondering why everything suddenly revolved around their feelings instead of the point they were trying to make. The self-awareness was nowhere to be found. Imagine dropping a documentary so frustrating that people start joking about wanting to be the security threat just to avoid another episode.
They were complaining that to pay for their own security. They were not happy about that. Yeah, they were very worried about their safety, which I get that aspect of things. After 6 episodes, I wanted to attack them.
That's the level of exhausting energy we're talking about here. Then Kelly Osbourne stepped into the conversation, and she did not come to sugarcoat anything. She called out Harry's non-stop victim act like she'd been holding that speech in for years. She pointed straight at the contradiction everyone sees, reminding him that you can't show up to a party in that infamous costume from years ago and then expect people to instantly accept you as a symbol of global kindness. It doesn't line up, and she said it with zero hesitation. At that point, the British public wasn't just tired of the drama, they were fully checked out.
My brother's fiancée, Miss Meghan Markle, is on the American program Suits.
Yes, Wednesdays, 8 p.m, USA Network.
The only difference between that show and this is people watch this one.
But the roasting didn't stop overseas. It climbed all the way to one of the biggest comedy stages on the planet, Saturday Night Live, and that's where things got brutally accurate. They went after Harry and Meghan with skits that felt a little too close to the real thing, making everyone watching laugh and cringe at the same time. That line was a straight jab at Meghan's acting days, basically hinting that nobody was actually tuning into Suits the way she wants the world to believe.
Whenever the kids are being fussy and not going to bed, she puts on an episode of Suits and they're out. So, what are you doing? Ow! Stop it! Stop it!
The whole room cracked up, and you just know Harry saw it somewhere and felt that sting instantly. But SNL didn't pause for even a second. They kept throwing punches, including the joke about using Meghan's show as a bedtime tool for kids, which was savage on another level. It was the type of joke that hits so hard, people laugh first and gasp right after.
Prince Harry really did that. At a movie premiere last year, he asked the CEO of Disney to hook his wife up with voiceovers.
Then Trevor Noah took things even further, bringing up the moment that still makes the whole internet wince. He painted the picture of a prince walking around movie premieres trying to network for his wife's voiceover opportunities, and the crowd couldn't believe how far things had shifted. Once upon a time, the royal family made marriage moves that shaped entire countries. But now, the energy looks more like chasing Disney opportunities and podcast contracts.
You gotta admit, the monarchy has fallen off, right? No, because back in the day, it used to be like, if you marry my daughter, I'll give you Bergen.
The downgrade felt almost dramatic in a sad way, and their Netflix lineup turned into perfect meme fuel. Even Family Guy jumped in and nailed the exact vibe people had been joking about for years, capturing the whole situation with jokes sharper than anything the couple probably expected.
And now it's like, my wife actually does a pretty good Timon. You should hear her.
Come on, baby, do the thing. Hakuna Matata, do the thing.
And then there were the deals, the huge payouts, the sponsored content that cost more than an average person's yearly income, all tossed into the spotlight for everyone to laugh at. Even fans who once defended them were confused about what they were actually creating. And don't forget that puppet show we mentioned earlier, the one that got wiped off the internet like it never existed.
Sir, your millions from Netflix for no one knows what.
Put it with the rest of them.
Babe, time to do our daily $250,000 sponsored Instagram post for Del Taco.
I shouldn't have left the made-up nonsense.
We're about to show you exactly what caused all that drama, but before we get there, you need to hear the line one comedian dropped that had the whole crowd losing it. That moment made every other joke look soft, because this wasn't just comedy anymore. It was comedians finally saying what everyone else tiptoed around. And nobody swung harder than Godfrey. He didn't warm up, he didn't ease in, he went straight for the biggest storyline Harry and Meghan have been pushing since day one. He called out Meghan, acting like it was shocking that the royal family might have questions about how their future kid would look, reminding everyone this is a family known around the world for having the same appearance for generations. He basically asked what reaction she expected, and the audience couldn't help but laugh because the delivery was sharp and direct. Then Godfrey admitted something people online had been thinking, but were too scared to say out loud.
Meg does her little phony, like, I'm so busy just doing like so much wealthy stuff. I have the show, the podcast, I'm a duchess, I have all this wealth. It's just so many busy things as a wealthy person.
So busy?
It was so fake. I was like, oh.
He said everyone was curious about what look will we see, because that's human nature. That's just people wondering about genetics, not some dark agenda. He made it clear he was talking about normal curiosity, not something hateful, and the crowd felt the honesty instantly. And he was far from finished. Godfrey dragged her latest interview with Jamie Kern-Lima, seeing right through the polished setup, the dramatic lighting, and the carefully crafted busy Duchess storyline she keeps trying to sell.
Is this true? Meghan Markle has ruined your workout regime. Is this true? If so, how?
Yes, she has.
How?
He pointed out how she always leans on the overwhelmed lifestyle routine, even when the audience isn't buying it anymore. He even called out the staged-looking photos, the dramatic posing, the endless talk about projects people barely remember, and the title she keeps bringing up to stay relevant.
Well, she came into New York last weekend,
Yeah.
and she went to a yoga place called Moto Yoga, which is my yoga place. It's
Right.
where I always go.
He laid it all out in plain language, making the whole room react like someone finally said the part people whispered about. She keeps holding on to that title while tearing down the very place that handed it to her, and the whole thing feels way too obvious to ignore. It's like she wants the benefits without the responsibility, and people started catching on fast. But the mockery didn't stay limited to comedians dropping punchlines. Even folks who once stood next to them socially began stepping back.
They have places in LA and New York, but now that she went there, everyone's gonna wanna go there,
Right.
and there's not gonna be any room. It's gonna be harder to get into.
Remember that whole scene at the yoga studio? The one that blew up online for no real reason? Meghan walked in, and instantly it became a headline moment like she'd staged an entire press event just to stretch.
Today, we bow our heads in memory of the fallen.
More episodes have been removed from YouTube.
A normal workout somehow turned into a full-blown spectacle, and people inside the studio were stunned at how fast the vibe shifted. She had her own quiet place to decompress, a calm little spot where people went to relax, and then Meghan arrived, and the peace vanished in seconds. Cameras, whispers, chaos, all of it. That's when people started calling it the Meghan effect, because everything she steps into becomes centered around her, even when nobody asked for it. And the wild part is the people around her always end up dealing with the fallout. The frustration wasn't just coming from comedians anymore. It was spreading everywhere. Fans, influencers, industry folks, everyone had something to say, and none of it was soft.
I'm Megan Sussex, and I'm a good person. And I'm meeting another good person today, the wonderful Ariana Grande.
Oh my God, Megan, you're such a good person.
Yes, that's why I'm going to talk to you like you're an idiot.
Now we're finally at the moment you've been waiting for, the clips that were so savage they couldn't stay online. Spitting Image, the legendary British satire show, created something that might be their most outrageous move ever. This was the most savage takedown of Meghan's Netflix show ever put on camera. And the crazy part is how fast it vanished afterward. Almost every video Spitting Image made about Meghan and Harry got wiped from their channel like someone pressed a panic button.
I'm preparing my guests some soul food that my British husband calls a packet of crisps. can be a tricky dish to master, especially when a packet is being a fucking Oh my god, you've been knocked down by the crisps. So vulnerable. I love it.
I'm just down here holding space.
And now, the finishing touches. A flower.
They even posted a video hinting at outside pressure, which only made the internet dig deeper. So what was so rough that it had to be erased? The entire sketch was aimed directly at her Netflix series, With Love, Meghan, and they didn't just poke fun at it, they obliterated it. The show was supposed to be warm, soft, authentic, but Spitting Image flipped it into a full comedy masterclass on staged perfection and pretend elegance. The soul food scene summed it all up in seconds. They showed her taking regular, everyday stuff and dressing it up like it belonged in a luxury catalog. A simple bag of crisps suddenly became a whole emotional moment just because Meghan touched it. The punchline was brutal, and the characters even joked,
Like and subscribe to learn how to breathe. How, as a finishing touch, sticking flowers on anything means you made it with love, and I share the secret to a happy marriage. Fuck's sake, H! Don't make me get the electric collar out!
Sorry, love. I think my arm's gone dead.
Sorry, enough. I think my arm's gone dead. Like they were exhausted trying to make something ordinary look magical. They didn't hold back on anything. They mocked the breathwork tutorials that looked way too dramatic, the flower arranging that tried to feel spiritual, and the non-stop effort to turn basic lifestyle moments into premium cinematic experiences. Everything was portrayed as overdone, overpolished, and painfully theatrical. Spitting Image didn't miss a single detail, and that's exactly why the sketch hit so hard. They show how the whole show tries to talk down to viewers through a phone screen, and this is where things get vicious. Spitting Image exposed the biggest contradiction inside With Love, Meghan, a show that underperformed so badly she's now calling less content a form of personal evolution. The internet wasn't buying that explanation for a second.
Hold it steady, you ginger pots! Hello, followers. You know little old me is a high-profile, high-success, global brand-creating, vulnerable, and humble business leader. Which means I no longer have time for my lifestyle show, which was such a hit that I'm now in talks with Netflix to pivot to 6 seasons of no more episodes. I've decided my time is better spent doing less, and so I'll be coming on here to patronize you through your phone.
And here's where it gets even messier. I personally think Harry and Meghan had something to do with that mysterious wipe, because the pattern looks way too familiar. We all remember how they tried to intimidate South Park after the Worldwide Privacy Tour episode, but those creators are untouchable and refuse to blink. Spitting Image, on the other hand, is a smaller target, easier to lean on, easier to make uncomfortable without ever saying a word directly. And then like magic, all that content vanished. Every parody, every sketch, every clip. But you just watched the exact type of material someone clearly didn't want floating around anymore. And that says a lot. And so what does all this mean for their future? Honestly, they're pushing themselves into a corner. Every lawsuit, every attempt to quiet down critics, every high-priced lifestyle item that misses the mark only makes the public feel more annoyed with them. They had a golden chance to reset, to show something real, and instead, they doubled down on dramatic storytelling that feels carefully staged instead of authentic. Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell us how you see it, and make sure to hit that subscribe button for more royal drama coming your way.